Good afternoon, I'm Bongeni Mutwa. We continue our unemployment focus and the impact of COVID-19. For more, I'm joined by Cameron Morajane, Executive Director at the CCMA. Mr. Morajane, it's a pleasure to have you joining us. At the beginning of the lockdown, you at the CCMA were inundated with retrenchment notices, the Section 189s. Are you still inundated to this day?
Nothing has changed. In fact, it has gotten worse. Last week, Friday, we got a notice that I was listening now, one of your colleagues talking about Sasol, and Sasol has issued a notice also of employees, about 31,000 facing a possible retrenchment. So we were asked to intervene now to see if we can facilitate. There are engagements happening. There's a bit of progress, but the numbers have been growing, so it hasn't gotten better, and we don't expect it to be anytime soon.
31,000 is quite a shocking number. Of course, like you're saying, the numbers have been getting worse. So far, are your interventions working maybe to minimize the number of job losses that we're seeing at the moment?
To a limited extent, yes. And reasons are very simple. That number one, there's a serious financial crisis, so that makes your facilitation very difficult. And the second part is a complete closure of an entity, which then you can't facilitate because there's no entity existing. But we do really make progress in trying to mitigate the total number of persons who are affected. So there is a bit of progress. It could be worse if the CCMA has not been involved. And what has also happened, we are also intervening in the bargaining councils as well to assist and support them to make sure that we try as much as possible, that we save as much as we can, because the process of facilitation and saving of jobs, it is a responsibility of the parties. And we as the Commission facilitate to make sure that we bring a certain picture. And I'm happy to also say that this process is also supported by the Productivity SA, because they are responsible for the turnaround solutions. Now, we'll be meeting soon again to see if we can find a joint effort where we can find a turnaround solution and try to mitigate the losses from our side. But yes, we are making a difference.
Well, talking about Productivity SA, we will be speaking to them shortly after this interview with you. But in terms of the retrenchments, is it just big companies that are coming through at the moment, or are we seeing a lot of smaller companies as well?
It's a mixture. It's a mixture of companies. The smaller ones are hardest hit, I must say, but it's a mixture, small, medium, and large. What we are trying to figure out now to put statistics together is the size of the enterprises that are facing retrenchment. And that's why for us, our reliance and our partnership with Productivity SA is very important, because to the extent that we can work together to make sure that the smaller ones exist, because the greatest number of employees or job creation come from the smaller enterprises. And if we can do much there, it will be much better. But we haven't gotten around where we are able to give the exact figures on how many are small, medium, and large. But it's a mixed bag that we have.
You recently discouraged people from walking into your offices to lodge cases in an effort to minimize the spread of COVID-19, moving the whole process to the virtual platforms. How is that working out so far?
It's working out very well, I must say. I must congratulate members of the public, because we were running on a fear that our staff is getting infected and our staff is infecting the members of the public. You will recall, Bongani, that we have introduced, the world has introduced 4R. Unfortunately, the way it looks now, 4R is being imposed by COVID. But our alternative platforms, our app, our website, all our digital platforms are receiving very good numbers at this stage in terms of referrals. And our users are happy that at least no one is converging to our offices on the long queues that you used to see. Because in terms of our commissioners and our staff, we're seeing an increase in the number of personnel who are infected by COVID. Even 1 or 2 died in the process, which was quite sad. So for us, we realize that the more we have long queues, we need more people to work in the queues, we need more people working inside in the workplace. So this alternative approach that we have taken, and our members or users warming up to it, has significantly minimized interactions between us and the members of the public. Yet we've created certain exceptions. For example, it's important that I announce this, that we are now using the social partner venues, such as the employers' venues and the union venues, for purposes of hearing. We're setting down matters there. All we do, we deploy a commissioner to go and do a case there. The CCMA offices are now used as a last resort for us to hold hearings physically. But those who are coming to make inquiries, to refer cases, we have closed down that process completely in terms of walk-ins. But all our platforms are being monitored, and we're receiving a good response from the members of the public. And that means there's less exposure to COVID-19. And that, in our view, is the best contribution we can make while continuing to execute business in terms of our mandate. So we are happy.
Mr. Morajane,
I know that it's difficult for others to adapt to that system.
Thank you very much for joining us. Unfortunately, we run out of time. We really appreciate your contribution.